Hello world, today what we're going to do is a dramatic look. So you have an airbrush machine and I've showed you before how to use airbrush as foundation, which is easy peasy. It's point and spray. Look how easy that is. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to do something that's a little bit more fun, avant-garde or fantasy or editorial makeup or even makeup that's for theater. Alright, so we're going to use our airbrush machine, but we're going to use a bright color and we're going to create like a mask. Now I've done this before for a Broadway production and it was beautiful and amazing, so I'm going to show you how to create it. So, we already have foundation on his face, and we already have a little bit of powder on his face as well. And we're going to put something over it with the airbrush machine. If you don't want to do that step, you can skip that step. But I'm going to get a cape because I don't want anything to fall here, okay? So you want to make sure that you protect the person's clothes, especially when you're doing airbrush foundation that is colored, because as you see his black, we don't want to mess it up. I'm going to use a cape that has white on it so that, for example, if we were using a black foundation or a black airbrush color, you would see it and it wouldn't go away. You'd be like, oh, there's nothing on their skin, and then it is, okay? All right, so now he looks like he's in the barber chair. Voila. So we're going to make a cheat sheet is what I'm calling it. And I want that straight line. So what I did is I took some tape, okay? That's nothing but medical tape, and I put that over it, and that's going to be my guide. And we put the color in the airbrush machine. We're going to turn the airbrush machine on, and then we're going to do a test. So the airbrush machine sometimes has to, as you see, turn on a little bit. So you want to test it on paper first to see if that's the consistency that you want. And that's the consistency that we want. So what you're going to do is you are going to hold your template. And this is point and spray. And it kind of feels like somebody's spitting on your face. All right? So close your eyes for me and spray. And as you see, we're spraying and we're creating the line that we want to create. But once you move it up, know that you can't go back in. Do you need to breathe? You want to make sure you ask the person if they need to breathe. All right, we're going to spray again. Spray. I'm going to go slightly in so we can see that. And then I'm going to move it. Oh my God, look how cool it is. And then we're going to go on the other side and we're going to spray. The closer you get, the more concentrated it's going to be. The further away, the lighter it's going to be. So it just depends on how light or how dark you want the color to be. So I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to move my airbrush machine a little bit closer. I'm going to create that line here. And then we're going to spray. And then we're going to go back in and make sure that we get the straight line. And I'm just free-forming. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And again, you can use any color you want to use, spraying. And then I want to have a sharp line here, so I'm just going to come there. I want a sharp line here. Having a guide is always easier for you to be able to do, and we're going to clean up any mistakes that we need to clean up, because again, it's just makeup, so we can fix anything we need to make. I'm going to do a straight line there. I'm going to come back up here, I'm going to turn it around, do a straight line. Come here. And before he opens his eyes, if you're a smart makeup artist, which apparently I'm not today, you would have a hair dryer, which will make it dry a little bit faster. I'm just going to take a hand fan. So the airbrush foundation I have in the color foundation, I mix it a little bit with a mixing medium, which has a little bit of a water in it, so it will make it go through the airbrush machine a little bit faster. So sometimes that takes a little bit longer for it to dry. So open your eyes for me. As you see, underneath the eyes are never done, right? Okay, so you're like, oh my God. So what do? All you want to do is you're going to just take your airbrush makeup, okay? Because it comes in a liquid form. You're going to take a brush, open your look all the way up for me, and then you're going to just apply it there. As it dries, it will change the consistency and match the consistency of the airbrush. But as you put it on, it's going to look like a different consistency. So don't feel bad. So you're going to get right underneath that person's eyes. And again, if you had, excuse me, a hair dryer, it would dry just a little bit faster. What you do to one eye, you have to do together. Look all the way up for me. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. Look how great that is. And as you see, even his eyelashes got green, got yellow in them. This is like a greenish yellow. Close for me. And I'm just going to go right over the creases of the eye with that color. And then we're going to set this with a powder. But before we set it, we're going to do one more layer airbrush, okay? So, again, you want to turn your airbrush machine on, test it on a tissue to make sure it has the consistency that you want. And then we're just going to go back over his eye area. Close for me. And making sure that we don't mess up the lines that we created. So it's kind of like coloring again. Remember when you were a kid and used to color? The closer you get, the more concentrated it's going to be. Spraying. The farther away, the lighter that it's going to be. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then how do you clean up any of the mistakes that you might have made? All you're going to do is just take a concealer or a foundation. That's the same person's complexion. And you're going to just go back over and cheat. So because I want a dramatic look, I'm using one that's like a little bit lighter than his complexion, and then I'm going to put a powder over it. Do you see how that's cleaning up any of the mistakes that yellow is at, and it already went away? Now if you wanted to create the look of like you're saying it's being broken, you see how now I'm just taking my brush and that's blending it in and breaking it up a little bit. Again, this is when you get to be the artist and create anything that you want to create. But if you want it to be sharp, then you want to make sure that you have it sharp. I'm breaking it up just a little bit so that one blends slightly into the other. When I created this for somebody else, they wore these hoods, so you put a hood underneath it, so all you saw was the yellow in their eyes. I thought it was super, super, super cool. So I didn't come up with this idea, but I liked the idea and was a part of a team that created it. So I wanted to bring it to you so that you could do it yourself. And then, like I said, all you're going to do is just take a powder and put the powder over all of those areas. So this is his skin tone powder. And voila, there you go. You would take the cape off. So you can see what it looks like with the black one. It kind of looks like a burglar, but kind of in a cool way. Look at how easy and cool that is. So it's an airbrush fantasy editorial look. No, would you wear this every day? No. It's still drying down, so if you see it crackling a little bit, that will go away as it dries down so much. And you can put a translucent powder over it. I caution with the translucent powder because sometimes when you put a translucent powder over colors, it will change the color and will not be as bright. So that's why I didn't put one on. But if you wanted to put a translucent powder to set it, totally do that as well. You can also put a setting spray on it if you want as well. Again, I challenge you and let you know that sometimes that might move the color, so just be really, really cautious when you do that. But you can do that as well. All right? So easy peasy. Use the stuff that you have. It looks beautiful. It looks amazing. And it's so simple. Less than 5 minutes and we did that. Beautiful.